CineTreak is back at it again with yet another small switcher. And when I say small, I mean really small. What is jam-packed into this is going to absolutely blow your mind. And it's not the norm for what every single other switcher does. This has got quite a few features up its sleeve that no one else has, and it's damn good. You may have seen my previous video with the CineTreak Stream 1. Now this is very similar. Essentially what OC did with the kit kind of case that it came with, CineTreak has done something very similar here with a few extra cool features and a very, very tiny footprint. And when I say small footprint, all of that is jam-packed into something a little bit bigger than my hand. Now, because switches are so complicated, I'm going to stick to a very similar format to what I did with my other switcher videos, because a lot of you guys like them, and I think if you're a person that knows switches, it will benefit you. And if you're someone that doesn't really know what switches do, this will also benefit you because they'll kind of help you along the way to get you to understand it in a very simple kind of fashion. I'll show you the physical side as well as the software side. I'll timestamp everything, so for those of you that are maybe coming to look at, maybe you own one of these already and you need to know something, I'll show you. Now, if you're new to switches, let me give you a brief 10-second rundown on what these basically do. A switcher like this essentially takes 4 HDMI inputs or SDI inputs in this case and allows you to send it to a screen or the client in the venue, or send it to a live stream, or it could be and send it to a live stream. You could do it both at the same time. Then you can switch between each camera, sending out different camera feeds to the stream, much like you see at an event. It also has all the audio controls as well as lower thirds and all of that stuff. So this is kind of what a switcher does. If you've seen them on the market, it allows you to also record your entire set. This is not an ISO device. An ISO device basically means it can record each camera individually. In a case like this, I would suggest recording on your camera. So you have your full recording that contains all your switching and your lower thirds and everything, and then just record your exact camera feed, each camera on its own on your memory card. ISO devices that allow you to record it internally are far more expensive, and this is not one of those. The physical side. Now on the physical side, the Stream Master SDI does come with a pretty cool carry case. And I do like this case because it allows you to be able to hold your power cable over here, there's a spot for it, as well as any other extra HDMI cables or different cables, maybe a hard drive that you need. Now, what is nice with something like this, and this specific case, if you look at some other units, this is coming from someone that's got a very long history of working with switches. A lot of switches are built into units. Once a switcher is built into a unit, you lose this, the low kind of resting your hand down here and your arm for longer 2-3 hour productions. Whereas if it's built into a much larger case, somewhat like the OCs, you do have an elevated raised hand. Now, for a lot of people, it doesn't bother them. It's just something that I need to point out because the unit is so small. It fits into a case pretty much the size of the OC and any other kind of device. And yet, when you take it out, you still have everything that you need. So it really just kind of depends on what the use case is, but it is pretty crazy that this is so compact. It feels like you're working on a little laptop. Also, this little case that is around this provides a kind of shelter for the screen because the screen is stuck in there. You can kind of see it. Very cool design. And that leads me to the 10-inch screen, because this unit is so tiny, but it's crazy that it still houses absolutely everything. There's no extra borders around it. It's pretty much a Stream 1, and then everything is just built into it in its exact size. The 10-inch screen, absolutely everything is there, nice and low to the ground. It feels like you're working on a normal mixer. Now, on that note of the screen, most units, when they have a built-in screen, mixers end up like the Stream 1 with 2 HDMI outs. One is for your multi-view, which shows you all the different cameras and you can switch between and you can see what you're doing. And one is a program out. In other words, it's a clean feed out of all the switching. So usually in a unit like this, the screen built into the unit is actually one of those feeds out. It's that program out that you would usually use, meaning you should technically have one HDMI out over here, which is your program out to send to the venue. But that is not the case. This unit, however, is different because you still have 2 HDMI outs, an aux out and a program out, and you can fully customize them to whatever you want to see on them, as well as an SDI out. So you've got your multi-view, plus you have 3 additional outs, which is absolutely crazy. I'll get into the menu on the customization on your program outs and aux outs in a bit. Now on the back, you do have one DC in power port, a LAN cable. This is used to connect you to the internet, or if you're using PTZ cameras for control and all of that. But the main reason is really to connect this device to the internet so you can stream directly to Facebook, YouTube, whatever platform that you want. And you can stream to 2 platforms simultaneously. You then have a UVC USB port over here. This allows you to send your final mix to a computer, whether you are using something like OBS or whatever it may be. You can send your final mix to a computer. In actual fact, you can use that UVC port as a camera input through the media. So technically, although this is a 4-channel mixer, which I'm going to get to in a bit because it's going to blow your mind, there's an extra channel available via the UVC. You then have an SD card slot, which allows you to store media, lower thirds, images onto the SD card and read that through the device. You also have a USB port, which allows you to connect an external SSD into here too. And you can actually store media on there. So you can choose where do you want your media to come from or where you're going to be saving your recording to. And then you have those fully programmable aux out, program out, as well as your SDI program out. And I'll show you that in a bit. And that leads me to HDMI 1234 or SDI 1234. And unlike most SDI or HDMI devices, CineTreak allows you to do something other than just allow you to choose which port to favor. Then you have mic 1 and mic 2 input, and they are 3.5mm, as well as the headphone jack, which is also 3.5mm. Other than the physical side on the outside, that is pretty much it. This thing is solid metal. It is really, really built like a tank. Vents on either side, rubber feet, so it does not slip. Like if I push this, I'm going to slide my table. Also, those rubber feet do help it to be elevated just that little bit. And I have run this for 9 hours. Doesn't even get hot at all. Typical CineTreak. I don't know, they did it on the Stream 1, doesn't get hot. They've done it over here again. Even though all of that's jam-packed in here, still doesn't get hot. Then you have all the buttons. And because this is essentially a Stream 1, and I have done a review on that already, I'm going to take you through this anyway in a little bit more of a relaxed kind of feel. The button layout. Now, diving into the buttons is pretty simple, very much like the Stream 1, and I'm going to break it down into different sections so you can easily understand exactly what's going on, and then I'm going to dive into the menu. On the top left over here, you do have the power button as well as a lock button, and if I do hit the lock button, you'll see it automatically locks the device, and now nothing can be touched. So if you are walking away and you don't want to touch it, or you don't want someone else to touch it, you can lock it. Over here, you have an MV button. Now, this is pretty cool because if I do tap this MV button, it will actually show me, you can choose this in the menu, it shows me a full display of the program feed or any feed that you're actually looking for. So it's really nice to check focus. So right now I can see that I'm in focus. You can just hit it and then it goes back to the multi-view. So it's really nice to check on your program feed just to kind of see. It's almost like having 2 different monitors up and you can always check what you're actually looking at. Next, you have your audio mix buttons. Now, before I get into audio, I do want to say thank you to the sponsor of today's video, which is Soundstripe. Now, when you're looking for good audio, and before you click away or skip the section, hear me out. When I do live streaming, I actually use Soundstripe because the music is licensed and you don't get copyright strikes. But on top of that, for any creative agency or if you work for a film company, Soup allows you to go in. It's kind of AI, and you can type in what you want. You can tell it about the project. I can tell it that I'm making a cool video about some new tech and I want to create a B-roll section with some really upbeat kind of music. And Soup actually goes and searches the Soundstripe library using AI and gives you a rundown of the best music suited for your project that you've just told it. On top of that, it then asks you to drill down even further. I've used Soup multiple times since its release, and honestly, it's never missed. It's never missed a single project. I don't know what I'm going to do if something happens to Soup, because searching for music the old-fashioned way is absolutely terrible. I will leave a link in the description below where you can head over to www.soundstripe.com/rich and you can check out Soundstripe. I'm sure they will hook you up with a discount if you do use that link. Now, breaking it up into this audio section over here, you've got mic 1, mic 2, which is your inputs on the back, aux and program. Your aux is the video file. Your program is what is essentially going out to your live stream or the HDMI feed that is running in and out if you're going to be playing this on a big TV in a different room. And then you've got channel 1, 2, 3, 4, which is actually your input 1, 2, 3, 4, whether it's HDMI in or SDI in on those 1, 2, 3, 4s. Very simple to work. If you tap mic 1, you can toggle mic 1 on and off. And you can see over here on the display that it goes on and off, or you can switch to audio follows video once you've switched it on. On mic 1, you're not going to get that. On channel 1, you'll get that. So if I go to channel 1, I can switch it on, and I can switch it to audio follows video. And then you can switch it off. So this is how that really works. You can also change the gain on it by hitting the up and down arrow. So I can lift the gain of input 1 up or down. And then you can just toggle through mic 1, mic 2, aux, program, and you can adjust it completely yourself. What's really nice is you can see at a glance on the screen over here which ones are on and which ones are off and which ones are AFV, and they gray out the ones which are off, which is really nice. So eventually when you get used to it, you can just look at the blues and you know those are the audio channels that are actually on or on AFV. On top of that, the program button over here allows you to switch your program button, and you can adjust the gain on it on the fly as well. So if you have got a good mix, but you just want to lift that volume of it all going out, you can actually just lift up the program rather than trying to lift up every single channel on its own. Moving down, you've got user 1 and user 2. This allows you to custom set user 1, user 2. Perhaps you have different settings on the one and someone else uses it and they've got another. There's actually multiple that I'll show you in the menu. You've then got an upstream key over here, which consists of a Luma, a Chroma, picture-in-picture 1 and picture-in-picture 2. And I'll get into that, but if you tap Luma, it'll actually go into preview. And if you tap on air, it goes live. Very simple. Downstream key works the same. You got a downstream key, logo 1, logo 2. If you tap logo 1 at the bottom over here, it will bring up a logo. So as you can see, there's a logo on the top. Hit on air, it goes into the program on the live. Really simple. Then you have got the huge section at the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, and these are your inputs. Input 1 being camera 1, 2, 3, 4, either HDMI or SDI. Now these inputs actually can run different signals. So if you look, I can run camera 1, actually a 4K feed, and I can switch that to 4K. Right now you're not seeing it, but I have tested it. You can get the 3840 over there, 29.97. You can see I've got a 60p there as well. And it actually downsamples it. It is only an HD switcher. So everything that comes in is really HD. When you do record it too, it's HD. And when you obviously send that feed out to the live stream, that is also HD only. The preview and program button is pretty simple. Hit in camera 3, puts camera 3 into preview, and camera 1 is in program right now. And if I hit cut, it will take it live into the program going out to the live stream. And that's how it works. I can put camera 2 in the preview and check it. I can switch as much as I want to over here. I can do what I want to. It's not affecting my live stream whatsoever. Hit cut, and then it goes out to the live stream. Obviously, if your mic 1 is on and none of those HDMI feeds have any audio with it, they will be mute, and you will just hear my voice as I'm cutting through, no matter how I'm cutting. That's essentially what mixers do. But this one has got a ton more tricks up its sleeve, and I think if you do get something like this, you're super spoiled, because a lot of mixers are very limited, except this one. On the left-hand side over here, you do have a PTZ control for cameras. Now what this does is, if I hit cam over here, you can actually change which camera you're on. So if you've got multiple cameras, you can change the speed of that camera too when you adjust it. So you can ramp it up or slow it down, and then you can just use this joystick over here. And there's a multi-use joystick, which I'm going to get to because you can use it in the menu as well. And you can use this joystick to control your PTZ camera, as well as zoom out, zoom in, and set multiple positions for your PTZ cameras. So if you want your PTZ camera to be pointed that way and that way, you can set a position there and a position there, and just simply cut 2 different positions without having to readjust it with a joystick every single time. Moving over, and before I get into this section over here, I'm going to just touch on the transitions over here. And you've got a 0.5 second, a 1 second, and a custom. Now how this works is, if I am using a wipe and I go to 0.5 and I hit auto, it will use that wipe and do it in half a second. If I hit 1 second, it will do it over 1 second. Whatever I set the custom to, and you can see on the bottom right hand side over here, there's your custom that is on 2 seconds. It will take 2 seconds. If I set my custom to 4 seconds, obviously it will take 4 seconds, but you can simply just swap to your 0.51 or whatever it may be. Your mix is actually just a normal fade, and your dip is the fade to black. But what is really cool with the wipe, which I'm going to get to in the menu, you can customize that wipe completely. Now moving into the section over here, and I haven't forgotten about the aux and pattern, you've got a fade to black, which will fade my program to black if you're ending your stream. You've got an auto, which uses the fade that's activated. A cut is a straight cut between preview and program. And then you can hit still, and it will actually just freeze the program and everything right now until I hit still, and it will carry on again. For whatever reason, you may want to do that. You've got grab. If I hit grab, it'll actually take an image, as you can see on the bottom right-hand side. It will grab that program feed and save it as an image. Perhaps you saw something cool that you liked during a live stream and you hit grab. Then you've got background over here, which I will get to, and then you have your PREV button. I cannot for the life of me remember right now what this did, but I will figure it out and let you know. Either over here, or I'll just put an insert if I do remember. There's a lot going on when it comes to mixes and multiple mixes, because honestly, these things are so compact and filled with features, it's very difficult to remember them all, especially when you're live. Now your aux and pattern over here is essentially like camera 1, 2, 3, 4. Pattern is over there, which is a different image or whatever you are laying over there, and aux is a video, and I'm going to get to how you would change that. So I can put pattern in the preview, whatever picture it is, and I can cut to it, or I can put the aux in the preview and cut to it. And I'll show you all of that in a bit. You then have a record button at the top over here, a stream button, and if I hit record, it will start recording my program out right now onto the SD card, because the SD card is plugged in. And then I've got a stream button over here, and if I hit stream, it will start searching via that LAN port on the back for the stream to try and send my program feed out to the internet, and then just hit go live on YouTube or whichever app that you're using, and you'll be live. You then got a multimedia button, which is back, play, and next. This is really to control your aux, your media that you're sending in, so different videos, and I'm going to show you that in a bit. You then have a menu button over here, and that's going to take us into the menu with this little jog wheel, which is a really, really nice little feature to have, considering that the joystick also works with a lot of different menu options, which is unlike anything that you normally see. Yes, you do have the T-bar, which allows you to switch over here. If I hit mix, it will use the mix. If I hit wipe, it will use the wipe. Obviously, you're not going to be cutting with your T-bar. And that's how a T-bar works. So that is basically it on the button layout. Now I'm going to get into the menu system, which is pretty cool. The menu. On the bottom right-hand side over here, you have a dedicated section on your display, on your multi-view, which shows how much you're recording. So when you're recording over here, you can see exactly what is left or what has been recorded, your kilobits per second for your live stream, your date and your time, and then you've got your logos that are set into logo 1 and logo 2, your transition for your mix, as well as your PTZ that is currently on hand, and obviously all those audio channels that we've already been through. When you hit menu, you are presented with a pretty cool thing. Now I'm going to take you through all of them. First one is transition. And when I referenced that wipe that you have over here, changing this will essentially change the wipe. So if I go over here and I choose this one, and now I hit fade or auto, you will see that it's using that wipe. If we go and we pick another one, there are 2 pages of the stuff. There we go. Now it will use that one, and it will remember with that one and only use that one. So let's pick something that's a little bit more noticeable. Let's pick this one, and there we go. Now what we're going to do, menu goes back, and tapping this joystick or this little dial in selects. So let's go to duration, and now we can change that duration. As you can see, as soon as I change it, the light changes over there. So 1 second, nothing changes. As soon as I go above 1 second, that is part of your custom button. So the longest you can go to is 5 seconds. And now if I hit auto, it will take 5 seconds for that transition to happen. Let's cut back to where we were. We're going to go back into the menu, and you've got, let's take this back down. You've got the softness of that transition, and transition is the softness of it. And then you've got your fade to black, and you can adjust how long your fade to black will be. Personally, I always set my fade to black as long as I can. It just looks a little bit better when you're ending off a live stream and you do want to fade to black, that it just slowly fades to black as opposed to just happening really, really fast. Let's bring that back. And then your dip, you can choose the color source or a camera input, yes, of a dip. So let's just choose pattern for argument's sake. And if we go over to dip and we hit auto, it will use that pattern to actually make that transition and fade. This is pretty cool if a company wants to use their logo from time to time between different scenes. Maybe a new speaker comes on stage and just want to get that company logo thrown into their face. And that's how you can do it. And obviously you can use that custom transition as well so that their logo appears longer. If you don't know what I'm saying, let's check this out. We'll turn that transition up to 4.2 seconds. And now we're going to custom with that company's logo in the pattern, and that logo will stay on a little bit longer on the screen and you'll be able to see it. Very, very cool. So that is the transition section. In audio, you have pretty much everything that you saw on these buttons over here. You've got your program, you can switch that mix on or off, and you can adjust the volume, which is the gain, which is these buttons. Very, very similar to this. However, when you get into your inputs, this is where it changes, and this is why I say this should be input 1, 2, 3, 4 as opposed to channel, because in the menu it's referenced as input, not channel. You can switch it on or off. You've got the volume, and then you can set the delay. Now, if you've worked with HDMI mixers, transmitters, and audio, you'll know that there's often a delay. You can delay all these inputs, and then what you can also do is you can delay camera 1, 2, 3, 4's input, plus you can delay your aux input. You can delay mic 1's input as well as mic 2's. And then you've also got on mic 1 and mic 2 your mode, which is your line or your mic. And you've got ALC, which is your auto level. And you can change that level to 1, 2, or 3 if you wanted to automatically adjust the level basically of your audio. So this is very, very cool that you can adjust the delay on every single input essentially. And then last but not least, at the bottom you have HP, which is your headphones. Now what's really nice with this is really, really quickly you can just head into this menu, go and you can change your headphones to program out where they should always be. But let's just say you want to listen to something that's happening on camera 2 but you don't want to affect your live stream. You can just head over here to the source of your headphones and change that to camera 2, and right now you'll only be listening to camera 2 even though only the program is going out with, say, camera 1. Really, really nice little feature to have. And you can adjust the volume of your headphones, obviously. Next, we have image. Now here you've got pattern, logo, logo 1 and logo 2. And this is pretty cool because at the bottom over here, you'll see local, SD card, and USB. USB, if I stick a USB-C drive or a SSD in the back over here, I can read all three. So right now, I have got in terms of pattern, which is images really, your PNG or JPEG images, and it does read PNG and JPEG. Just definitely make them 1920 by 1080. You can go over here and I can select it. So let's just take this one because it looks different. And then once I've hit select, you'll see it goes into the apply and delete section over there, and you can delete it. So we're going to go apply. Now it's going to apply to the pattern section over here. And now we have that image and I can bring it into pattern into the preview, and obviously you can go live with it. But what is pretty cool is if I use the joystick and I'm on local, I can move over to SD card. Now this is everything in my SD card. So I've got a cool shot of Michelle here that I took. Let's take this one and we're going to say apply. Now it's going to use the image from the SD card and I can go live with that image from the SD card. Not just that though, but if you look really carefully on the right hand side again, and I can move over, so we're on, this is the local, this is the SD card. Now I select Michelle over here. I can not only say apply or delete, but I can say import. Then it imports that image into local storage. So then you have that on local storage in case you have some images that you always use on every single project and you just want to keep them rather than swapping out stuff on SSDs or SD cards. And then obviously if you move over again, you've got the USB, which is grayed out because I haven't plugged my SSD into the back into the USB slot. So you can choose from 3 different sections, which is really nice if you're recording to, say, your SD card. You can quickly plug out the USB and you can hand it off to someone that can load some media in quickly while you're live, and you can plug it back in. Really, really cool. Going down, you've got logo, and this is exactly the same. Local, SD card, and USB. Now I'm going to move over to the SD card over here, and I'm going to say select this. This is my logo. I'm going to say import, import finished. If I move back to local, you'll see that there it is. And I can go over here and then I can say, let's make this logo 1. Now it is logo 1. Now if I look over here, logo 1 is grayed out. So if I tap it, it will go into the preview. And there it is. And then I can take it on air. And that's not where it ends. Let me show you what I mean. Go back, hit in the menu button, and now we go to logo 1. We loaded this into logo 1. So let's look at logo 1. We're going to take the size. Now 1 is the standard size. So this is how big my logo actually was on the screen, which is way too big to probably use on a live stream. But you can go over here and quickly just choose 0.4, 0.6, and you can choose the size of your logo that you want. And that's not where that ends either. So let's go to 0.4, we go back, and now we're going to go to position. And this is the cool part. This little joystick over here, we're going to move this joystick around, and you can see that I can position this anywhere I want to on the screen. Once I'm happy with it, hit on air by logo 1, and we have a logo live. Very easy. Right, same happens with logo 2, so that's what logo 2 is for. It's the size and the position. Next, we're going over through to media. I'm going to take that logo off and out of preview. We're going to head over to media. Yeah, we've got the exact same thing again. These are videos. So there's local, there's SD card, and then obviously SSD if I did have an SSD plugged in. So if you are going to be importing videos onto the drive, just make sure that you do manage it and you do delete them when you're done, because you don't want this to be too full of storage. I always believe that stuff should run clean and easy. So let's head over here to this RX video, and I'm going to hit it, and I'm going to say play. It's opted over to the play section, and now it's going to pop into the aux screen over here. And now I can bring aux over there, and then I can cut that aux. Remember, my aux is on audio follows video. So right now there's no audio going out to the program. As soon as I cut, you'll see that that audio from the aux, whoopsie daisy, has not gone. Did I not put? Good golly, I've messed this up. My program audio was not on. So you'll see that the aux video is now playing. So if I cut back, you'll see that there's no audio. If I cut there, you can see on the program that the audio is going out with that video. Now this is where that multimedia play button comes in. So you can actually just hit play over here and it will play it again. So the goal would be to, we're going to cut it, we're going to put in preview. Now this is where I have a slight issue or con. If I hit the back button, it automatically goes to a previous video that I've recorded. So there's another video. And if I hit pause, it pauses that video. If I hit next, it automatically starts playing that video, whereas it should pause that video. It shouldn't autoplay it immediately, because now what happens is I have to hit next, quickly hit pause. Now I'm ready. Now when I cut, the video doesn't autoplay. And that's something that I don't really like. I'd like it to cut and then autoplay. Now I have to hit play and time it up. Maybe for some people, they prefer it that way, but for me personally, whoopsie daisy, I don't really like it like that. I prefer it to just automatically play. For me, it's much, much better. But I'm sure CineTreak, once they've watched this video, they're going to look at that and they're going to fix it quickly and make it, when you pause it and you go to the next video, it automatically pauses. And then when you cut, ideally, it should autoplay because you want it to autoplay. So I'm going to head back into our menu by the media, because there's a few things that I need to show you as well. Once you get to playback, you've got single, list, or stop. So I'm going to go to single, and what's going to happen now, it's going to loop it, and it's going to loop that same video over and over. As soon as this video ends, you're going to see it's going to start playing. If I select list, it will play all those videos that are on that SD card or on the SSD or in the local. It will play all of those in a row in a list, and it will loop that list. If I choose stop, it will play the video and stop right at the end, and it will freeze on that program out, and you will need to cut back. So right now it is on single, so it's going to loop that single video over and over. If I hit list, as you can see, it's looped it already. It will then play the next video and the next video. Going back, you've got record. Now this is pretty cool. This is the recording going out. So this is to record your program feed. You've got your bitrate that you can adjust all the way up or down. And you can go to 30 megabits per second, which is absolutely crazy. You've got your frame rate, and you can go from 24, 25, 30, 50, and 60. You've got your format, MP4, TS, FLV. path USB first or SD card first. Now what's really nice with this is, let's say you've plugged in both. You wanted to choose the USB first. That's the one that you wanted to record on, or SD card, so that you're not confused by plugging out your USB, which is your SSD. You wanted to always record your SD card first or the USB first. So let's leave it on SD card. Then you've got your SD format, and you can format that card. And then this is a really, really, really cool feature. You've got autosave on here. Now this is mind-blowing for me. Honestly, 0.5, 1 hour, 1.5 to 2.5, 3 hours. What this is actually doing, let's just get this to look a little bit better. There we go. What this is actually doing is, when you get to 0.5 hour, it will save that video that you're recording, and then the next half an hour it will auto-save, creating multiple different files of your live stream or your recording. The reason being is, a lot of mixers sometimes power trips, power goes out, they go faulty, the recording gets messed up, corrupt file, whatever it may be. At least you've recorded it every hour, and you've got a clean copy every hour. So when something does go wrong, you don't have to panic and go, oh gosh, I've just lost absolutely everything. I've only lost the last hour, 2 hours, or whatever it may be. So this is a very, very cool feature to have, especially because, unlike the ATEM, if I'm not mistaken, the ATEMs are the only ones that if you pull the power out the back while it's recording, for some reason that file is saved and it doesn't go corrupt. However, with most products like your Rodes, your OCs, the CineTreaks, all of them actually, as soon as you pull the power out or you lose a connection, that file gets corrupt, and then there's a tricky way to kind of recover it, whereas this solves a lot of that problem. Then you've got a push stream. If you are going to push stream or pull stream, this is your push stream. This is your sending your stream out. So this is the bit rate of your stream, which is absolutely crazy. So if I'm going to stream to YouTube, I can usually use kind of streaming between 3, 5, and 7. Going up to 10, you need a really good internet connection, and going all the way up to 20, I hope you're connected to something really fast. And then you've got your frame rates, which is 24, 25, 30, 50, and 60. Your stream 1 and stream 2. So you can stream, like I said, to 2 different locations at once, and you can toggle those on and off. I'll show you later how you actually load these different stream keys in. Then you've got a pull stream, if you know anything about pulling a stream, and NDI source. NDI is for NDI camera. So if you are interested in pulling a stream into this, you can. I don't think I really have to go into that, and I don't think I really have to go into too much about NDI, because if you are an NDI user, you know exactly what this is about, and that's a whole new video. Next, you've got picture-in-picture, and the picture-in-picture is pretty rad as well. So what I'm going to do first of all is I'm going to put the pattern in the preview, and pattern is the picture. So we've got Michelle in the preview over there, and on PIP1, and I can hit the preview over here, and there's picture-in-picture 1. Now, picture-in-picture 1 is source, which is the aux, which is the video that's playing, and we can change that size. We can customize that size of it. We can move it around with the joystick too, right? So there's that video file. Let's move it over to the side actually. We've got that video playing. We can actually go here and we can change the width of it. We can change the height of it. It's on full height now. And let's just say we change the width of it a bit more, like that, right? We can go over here to the crop, and we can set the joystick. We can use the joystick to center that video within that crop. Super easy, really, really clever little idea. Love it. Right, moving over, we got PIP2. Now, if I do want to take that video live, I can obviously just hit on air and it will go through. But let's hit PIP2, and there's a picture of Michelle again, which is actually the pattern. So we're going to go over here, and we're going to change the source to, I don't know, let's say input 1, which is me right now talking to you. And what we're going to do is we are going to say size. You can choose what they recommend over here. These are these kind of set sizes. Personally, I say custom, right? Let's go custom. We're going to move me over here by Michelle, and we're going to change the width. We're going to narrow it out completely, almost like the other one. And if you did get the measurements of the other one, you know, we'd know exactly what it is. Let's make it like that. And we're going to go to the crop, and we're going to use the joystick, and we're going to position me, whoopsie, getting confused here for my own sanity. There we go. Now I'm nice and centered. talking to you. Pretty cool. We can cut and we can take that whole thing live, all those picture-in-pictures. So essentially you could do 3 feeds at once, because obviously you can choose the base layer. The program could actually be a video file, if that makes sense. So you could have 3, right? So let's get Michelle back there because that looks a lot better, right? Whoopsie daisy. We're going to put Michelle back there. There we go. Right, now we can go and we can change the border. Yes, we can use the joystick over here too and select a color of the border. Maybe that color is going to look pretty cool. And we can change the width of the border. And the border is for both. You can't customize each border on its own. And we can set that to where we want to. And you can use the little dial to change the one at the top. This is pretty cool. Pretty clever, pretty unique little way to do it. And then over here, you've got meeting, and you can switch the meeting mode in preview. This is if you're going to be hosting a whole bunch of calls. Perhaps you're doing a live stream with different feeds of people coming in. It's kind of like a picture-in-picture that's pre-done, and technically here you would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You could have 5 inputs running on this, and it is possible. And then you've got, and you can put that preview into preview program or preview and program if you like. And then you've got mode 1. So I'm going to go over here, head back, and then you can actually see what this does. So let's just turn these off because they're pretty distracting. Picture-in-picture, and we've got meeting, and we're going to change the mode, and you can see it moves them to the top and the bottom. So it's a very nice little pre-template, if you will. Very, very cool. So just turn it off. We just go switch it off. And that is essentially your picture-in-picture. Let's get this back to something looking, whoopsie daisy. There we go. Right, so now we're going to move over to Luma. Now I'm not going to touch too much on Luma key and Chroma keys and downstream keys, because if you do know Luma keys and downstream keys, you'll understand. But I do want to show you the settings in it, because that is really what is important. Now when it comes to your key source, you can change the source to whichever one you want to. So let's use input 3. And the full source can be pattern, and oopsie, then we can use the parameter and we can inverse it. You can change the gain. I'm just really messing with this now, just so that you can kind of see. Oh, we need to switch it on. My apologies. Luma key, there we go. So now we've loaded the Luma into preview, and you can see what's happening. So you can see if I change the camera, Michelle's the full source, and that's kind of what we've got going on. So depending on how you want to use your Luma key or Chroma key, you can really change it up. Parameters, you can change the inverse, the gain, the threshold, and you can also mask it and adjust the width of that mask and crop it exactly how you want to. So we're going to switch the Luma key off. Next, we've got Chroma key, pretty much exactly the same. However, your source, you can use picture-in-picture as well on your Chroma key, and you can set your color. So this is for your green screens or your blue screens, and you can dial it in and choose exactly which color you want. What I'm going to do right now is, just for argument's sake, we're going to go and I'm going to pick a color. Let's just see if this works. Okay, great. We've picked the color. Trying to get the background more or less behind me. Similarity. This is kind of adjusting it. Your key source. Input 1. Where are we? Chroma key. There we go. So we are in the preview right now. And you can see my green screen that I've got going on over there. So we've loaded myself into the preview. We've got the color. We can change the similarity, as you can see. So we've just selected blue. So as we dial it in, similarity, if you go all the way up, it's going to select everything. It's kind of choosing the refining of the blue, really, that we've picked. So obviously a nice solid green screen would help really, really nice. And then you can change the smoothness of it, and you can see how I can feather it out or make it much more harsh for a softer kind of look. And then you can mask it as well, which is really, really nice to make your cropping a lot easier. Perhaps you've got just a very small green screen behind the person. So this is really handy, really, really nice. And it's a very easy way to work with the Chroma key. Then you've got your downstream key next. very kind of similar to your Luma key. If you do know downstream keys, you've got your different inputs. If I open there, you can choose input 1, input 2. So let's take, whoopsie daisy, key source input 1. And then you can see me in the preview over there. And we can change that threshold as well. And we've got it cropped at the moment as well. There's the gain. And you can inverse it. And you've got your mask, which is essentially the cropping of it. So you can crop me out. This is also the downstream key, really useful, really, really handy. Moving on, you've got your PTZ with your camera IDs, cameras 1, 2, 3, 4. Your search, cam IP, the speed, which I showed you, you can adjust. Your focus, which you can switch to autofocus or manual. And your exposure, you can adjust the mode, the shutter, the iris, the white balance, and that is it on PTZ. PTZ is a whole different video as well. If you've got PTZ cameras, I'm probably sure you know how cool they work when you have them all set up. And if you're a PTZ user, I don't really have to explain that too much, but yes, if you have pan-tilt zoom cameras, this is great. Next, we have the ports, and this is pretty crazy. Now, in the view over here, right now we're looking at the multi-view, right? This is the multi-view. And the multi-view, we are set to horizontal, but we can quickly switch it to vertical. Now, if my cameras were turned upside, well, not upside down, sideways, you would see me being vertical. Now, I've streamed on Instagram with this, and it works absolutely amazing. So you can switch it to horizontal or vertical. You can switch your multi-view to that too, which is really, really cool. This is your stream view, so you can stream vertical too, but it will, obviously I need to reboot it for the actual effect to take place, but that will be only for the stream going out, and it works really, really well. Next, we have our output source. Now, this is insane. Here on the output source, which is really cool, we have 4 outputs, kind of 3, if that makes sense, because we've got 2 HDMIs and 1 SDI, but it does show you 4, and I'm going to explain that now. On your aux out, which is currently running into the recorder over here to record the aux out, we can change that to preview, or it's flickering over there. Let's just leave it where it was. We want the multi-view recorded over here. Okay, there we go. We're recording the multi-view. We're not going to record the preview. And we are going to go over to program out. So your aux out, you can change it to whatever you want to. And so you can do with the program, your LCD as well as SDI. They are all the same, and you can change them all. But what is really, really cool is with the program out, so let's say we've got a screen in the venue with the program out, you can choose that to a clean program out. So it's just the program out without all of the fluff and the extras. If you're wondering what I mean, let's do this. Let's take this and select this to clean preview. So now, right now, the recorder is only recording this screen, which is the clean preview out. So if I head over and I put up a logo or picture in picture, where are we? Logo? There we go. If I put up a logo or a notice on it, you'll see that the logo is here, and I can cut to it live, right? Whether it's preview or program that you've sent out there, it makes no difference. But the logo doesn't go with the preview. So this is really cool if you've got another recorder hit into the program out, because you want, a lot of guys ask for, I want a clean recording. That's what it means. It's without all the logos and the lower thirds and the subtitles or whatever that you're putting into your live stream. Now you can actually clean feed that out to an HDMI and record it via that, or you're sending it to the screen in the venue. The venue screen doesn't want to have all the notices popping up. So now you can actually do that over here. And you can control all 3 of those outs on that. The reason that there's an LCD out, because that is this LCD, is I have mine set to program. And the reason being it's set to program is when I hit this MV button, it gives me that quick burst and look at my program out. I can set this to aux. Now, if I hit this, it'll only show me the aux feed out. So it is really, really cool that you do have this LCD out and this quick toggle button to show you your program feed. Really nice if you're checking focus on a shot and you want to see what it looks like. Then you've got your output format. Now, the output format is the format that's going to my screen, so I can change it to 60p or whatever it may be. But what I can also do now is I can actually change the temperature. And I don't know if it changes the temperature on the actual recording out, I don't think so. But there I can adjust the temperature of my screen. So if your screen is out and you're trying to color correct your screen to something else, you can now adjust the screen red and blue. You can change the temperature of this actual monitor that's on the unit. Then you've got your inputs. And here you can choose input SDI first, HDMI or SDI first, and I can select it to always go for HDMI first. So if I've got HDMI and SDI plugged in, it will always read the HDMI first. So right now it's reading HDMI first, right? So if we put it in preview and I'll hold this, as you can see, it switches to SDI. So if I did have an SDI camera plugged in right now, I can hold it again, and then it switches to HDMI. So if I had an SDI camera plugged in, all four, I could essentially have an 8-camera switcher here, and this is why I've waited for the menu to show you this, because when you hold it on the input, you can actually see it. There we go. So if I hold number 2 down, number 2 is reading SDI first. There's only HDMI plugged in right now, so we're gonna hold into 1, 2, it's a whole second, a full second. Number 3, 1, maybe at 1.2 seconds. And then you can actually switch SDI and HDMI, so you've kind of got an H channel switcher on the fly. You can just hold in it and you can switch and check which camera you want to see. Really, really cool. And then finally you've got flip, so you can flip all of these inputs 1, 2, 3, 4 and aux, horizontal, horizontal and vertical. So maybe you want it flipped vertical for some reason, you've got it mounted a PTZ to a ceiling or whatever it may be, you can do that over here. Moving on, you've got your users, and this is call means load, so you can load user 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or you can save user 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then they have dropped another game changer over here with their macros. Now, their macros are different to some macros. Other macros, you would hold in macro 1, you'd record a whole bunch of things and kind of you would bring up your lower thirds and you would save that as memory 1 or macro 1, whatever the companies want to call it. But this is a little bit different, and this is actually pretty cool. I don't know if you've ever live streamed something and had to walk away from a unit, and while you're walking away, it's stuck on camera 1, and you want it, you're going to go work on camera 4 because you need to move camera 4, solo operators. So you leave it on number 1. But what happens if there was a way to make it switch between camera 1, camera 2, camera 3 while you were gone? Right? Check this out. So here we're going to do it right now. We're going to head over to macro 1 and I'm going to say record. Now, let's say we are on camera 1 and our preview is camera 2. So we're going to go and we're going to hit record. It's busy recording. It's also remembering time. I'm going to hit number 2 in preview, and then I'm going to say cut. Then I'm going to quickly hit 3 and cut, 1 and cut. Then I'm going to wait a while. Let's give it a gap. And then we'll put pattern. And then we cut. And I'm going to stop the recording. It's remembered the time frame. Not just that, I can go over to the loop and I can set it to loop that exact same thing. So if you are moving off to a camera, maybe you need to quickly shoot out and take a bathroom break and there's something going on the stage and you just want the cameras to toggle while you're gone, you can now do that. And now I just go over here and I say automatic key start and watch. Yeah. And it remembers the time that you've taken. And you can set it to loop. So you can set it to switch to camera 2, camera 3, camera 2, camera 4, and set it on loop and walk away. And then when it's done, it will stop if it's on single. And if it's on loop, it will just keep going until you get there and you take over. This is absolutely amazing for solo operators, or if there's something that's going to happen on stage and it's pre-rehearsed and you can quickly do it and you can record it into macro 1 or macro 2. So you do have 2 of these, so you can record a different set for number 1 and a different set for number 2. This is absolutely amazing, and the fact that they've got this is really, really cool. Next, we've got settings, and we've got the system, which is English. We've got the fan, which you can set to auto. We've got the backlight of the screen that you can quickly adjust, so you can see how bright the screen gets. So this camera is not going to like that. There we go. Maybe that's a bit better. And then we've got the date and time, and then we can reset it. Then we've got the network, and you can set that network. The joystick, you can calibrate it. Your NDI, mine is not active, and then the version. Now there is a section for a web interface which can be accessed by scanning the QR code in the menu, and this is also where you would upload your stream key. Really easy, really simple. The cons. Now when it comes to a unit, there has to be a con, right? And I have found one that I do not like. After using it for some time, there's definitely one that I don't like, and that is these metal clasps. Sometimes, depending on maybe it's the temperature, they feel a little bit loose. Right now, it's really, really cold, so I think the metal has completely shrunk. So it works really, really well. The one is tighter than the other one, and over time, they might get a little bit loose and not work so well. But that doesn't really matter because you're carrying it in a case, number one. Number two, without these clasps holding it, the unit itself is, it doesn't just flap open. The spring load, as you can see, is really, really strong. I've got to hold it down at the bottom, otherwise it lifts up. So even if you do close it without the clasp and you shove it back in the case, you're really not going to have a problem. The verdict. Right now, the Stream Master SDI might be the most all-in-one capable unit that you can currently buy. It is extremely compact, and the fact that it's HDMI and SDI and you can swap it out on the fly, plus you have PTZ control with a built-in screen, plus you have those extra 3 ports on the back, those outs that allow you to do it with a built-in multi-view, is absolutely mind-blowing. This bad boy over here runs for, I think, $839. The price, obviously, on all products nowadays changed quite considerably, but at the time of me checking it was $839. That's for the HDMI and SDI. Just the HDMI version, I think, is $739, if I'm not mistaken. So $100 cheaper, but honestly, if you may need a camera in the future, you do get HDMI, SDI adapters, and you've got 5 or 6 cameras. You could just put a SDI adapter on there and run an HDMI camera into there and run this as many cameras as you like. Might just be better to pay the extra $100. And you've got an 8-channel kind of mixer. Now I was open and honest when the Stream 1 came about. It was my favorite mixer in terms of right now, simplicity, easy to use. You can hand it off to someone and they can easily operate it. So what is the question when it comes to the CineTreak Stream Master SDI? Well, honestly, if you're looking for an all-in-one compact unit, my view on the Stream 1 hasn't changed, and that's just made me like the Stream Master SDI a lot more. If you're looking for an all-in-one compact unit, you cannot buy anything better than this in my view. I have not come across anything on the market, and I have used a lot of different mixers. I've said it before, I love the competition. The competition is what's created a device like this. And if this is the way we're going to see some epic units at very low costs in the near future. Thanks for watching. I'll drop a link in the description below where you can head over and pick up one of these or just check it out if you'd like. But I hope this video has helped you. If you have any questions, please leave them below. Thanks for watching. Wherever you are in the world, have a good day, good evening, and good night. Goodbye.